Welcome to the podcast. We're back.
Welcome.
Again. A little bit of drama off camera.
Kieran's lost a tooth.
Yeah, I've lost a tooth.
Literally 5
not
minutes
a tooth,
ago.
a bit of a tooth. I put a chewing gum in and I bit down and my tooth broken.
You wouldn't think he's a man who's just lost a bit of his tooth.
Yeah, you just got to crack on with it, you know what I mean? But, yeah, welcome, we're back. We're back. How are you, Chris?
I'm not bad.
Chris is okay. And how's Simran? How are you doing?
I'm very fine, thank you. Still
okay?
tired.
Tired. I thought so. I'm pretty wiped out myself.
Yep.
If you didn't know, we've just had our latest Gamers Unite event.
Last one of 2019.
Yeah, and it went well. We're just we're very tired.
Yeah,
since,
very. Well, the last 2 days were always a write-off afterwards.
A little bit, yeah, but it's the weekend nearly.
Yeah.
So we've just got to power through this now.
Yep.
News this week. Let's go over some news this week. What came out? What are we talking about? Stadia. We saw Stadia come out on... What day did it come out?
It came out...
Was it Stadia come out?
Was it yesterday or Wednesday?
I don't know, actually.
Oh,
The review embargo lifted on Monday, I think.
Yeah, Monday sounds about right. That's when people started posting their thoughts.
Let's go into some of those thoughts. Kevin Lee from IGN, he said that Stadia, Google's new game streaming service, is off to a rocky start. The service seemed like the future when it initially announced, with a dizzying array of features like letting you play on any device or instantly jumping into a game with your favourite streamers. Bold claim. However, in reality, Stadia is still missing more than half the functionality Google initially promised. Meanwhile, some users who ordered the Founders Edition finally got access code to the service of at least 2 days after it launched to the public on November the 19th. So that was Tuesday, not far off then. In spite of all these issues, the fact that Google Stadia works and makes game streaming look good is commendable. Mixed reviews. Mixed reviews. Are you going to jump in?
No.
No?
Why? I've already talked to you about this.
Go.
Stadia's got one big issue with it that I don't like. Is that you don't own the games. There's a massive cost on top of it. You've got the subscription service. You've got to pay for the game, and then you don't own the game. So that kind of negates the whole point of having the gaming system. Like, what's to stop me from just buying a PC or a PS4 or an Xbox? At least I get to keep the game then.
That's not the biggest issue, although it's part and parcel to it. Like I say, you don't own the game. But what happens if the service goes down?
But doesn't that happen anyway with the digital stores?
True, but you have
You love it.
Yep.
You have access to it on your machine.
And also, on your PlayStation, you have a library that you can always go back to and download it. You don't have to sign into the PlayStation Store to download it every time.
No.
It's stored in your library
You
forever.
can use external hard drives, can't
Yeah.
You have a way of backing up with it all online.
Okay.
You've got no way of backing up. You just have to trust.
And also, even if those
I'm
PlayStation...
guessing you don't trust them.
Well, they've not got a great track record.
No, not particularly.
No. Have you seen the Stadia countdown? I think I showed him this last week.
Yeah, that countdown is brilliant.
StadiaCountdown.com. Someone's created a online timer that counts down approximately 4 years to when they believe that Google is going to can Stadia.
Add it to the
which
list
is usually what happens with most
Google
products. But yeah, the press is overwhelmingly negative, which is understandable when you launch with no features and you call it a final product. What can you expect? If they'd come out the gate a little bit like xCloud and said, well, this is a testing, this is used for testing, I don't think the users would be as kind of burnt by it. But so Tech Radar gave their verdict. Their overall verdict was, if you pay for 100 megabytes per second of internet speeds, Google Stadia will perform wonderfully and is the game streaming service we've long waited for. That said, if you have a slower connection or you're tied to a capped data plan, Stadia will still work, but it isn't quite the negative latency experience Google promised, and choose through data quickly. Because I don't know much about the subject, but I know that there is in America there's a lot of data caps.
Mm-hmm.
So you pick your
Especially down south in the southern regions.
yeah. There is a cap on how much data one user can use, and obviously that's problematic for someone who wants to stream games. And for a service that's meant to look like the future, it's still limited by the limitations of data companies. As we've talked, we had a little bit of a chat yesterday about data and broadband becoming a utility in the UK. I err on the side of it being a good thing. Simran, not necessarily. Chris is
On the fence.
on the fence. Chris is on the fence. And yeah, I think we just have a lot of we have a long way to go.
Yeah, a very long way to go. It is going to happen. Gaming is going to become streaming, inevitably. Even though I do love owning a physical copy, but it's coming. It is happening, but this was not the right way to go about it. This was just an absolute disaster of a streaming service launch.
Yeah, I have hope, as always.
Mm-hmm.
I hold out hope that they can repackage Stadia for whatever it could be, rebrand it, and hopefully come out with a stronger service when all of the new consoles get announced next year, and it can look more like the product that we kind of. I'm not even necessarily saying that we wanted, but I'm not necessarily saying like that we wanted, but that we expected from them, because that's what they came out the gate offering.
Yeah.
So. But
for me,
go on. Yeah. If you've got some points that you want to bring
for
up.
me, one that's doing it sort of right is PlayStation Now, even though it could use a bit. Its limitations, but it is a step in the right.
Is it called PlayStation Now?
Yeah.
Is that the streaming service?
Yeah. So, and how they work is you get a monthly, so you can pay, I think it's like $7.99 for a month, or you can just do a yearly, which is like £80, and then you've got access to loads of PlayStation 2 free, and loads of other games. Like I went mental when I saw Fallout New Vegas on that for PlayStation 4, and I used my 7-day trial up just for that. And I think that's a step more in the right direction for streaming.
Okay,
similar
to
to
play
Netflix.
devil's advocate. Most of the criticisms of Stadia is that it's come out without any new titles and just old titles. That's exactly what PlayStation Now does. Are the criticisms right for Stadia and wrong for PlayStation?
I think it's more because of the fact that Stadia is asking a lot more money of you. It's asking you to buy a console, effectively, and it's asking you to buy the games. And on top of that, you don't get to own those games, which fair enough, you wouldn't own through PlayStation Now, but you're only paying a set fee, which sort of ties into what we were discussing yesterday.
Yeah.
You pay a set fee for PlayStation Now, and you've got access to all these games. Yeah, fair enough, you don't own them, but you're not paying additional charges like you have to do like Stadia. So Assassin's Creed Odyssey, you have to pay the subscription service once a month, then you have to pay for the game, and then you don't even own the game. Well, why isn't that meant to be included in the subscription package, similar to how Netflix would work? You don't own what's on Netflix, but you not paying to watch each show on top of your subscription service.
My biggest concern with if they moved directly, like swiftly into the Netflix kind of business model, as we know, but Netflix work at a loss anyway. They're losing money because they can't afford to keep all of the major programs and TVs and television shows on onto the platform. I'm worried about the consumer. I'm worried about obviously we've seen it with music, and that's caused the bottom end to fall out of the music industry. It also allows a more opportunity for small individuals who aren't backed by big companies to kind of make an audience and build an audience for themselves, which is a good thing. I think what Stadia is trying to adopt is like a halfway house between consoles and what streaming services could be, by offering the streaming service, but with the additional cost of you buying each copy, because that still means that the developer still gets the money. So if we went to a full Netflix thing, I think the bottom end would fall out for especially small developers like ourselves, because it'll all exist on brand then.
Do you not think an easier way around that could be just pay the developer a set fee to have their title on Google Stadia, similar to what we're seeing with the Epic Store? They'll pay a developer a certain X amount to get their game on this platform. So from a consumer standpoint, why will you just pay to buy a game on there at full price that you don't even own. I get it. Like, you should.
Of course.
The devs, speaking from a dev standpoint, we want the money, we need it.
Yeah.
But from a consumer standpoint, they have no reason to purchase this title that they're not going to own. That's like me asking you to pay monthly to own a phone, but then I also charge you an additional usage to actually take the phone home with you.
Of course, yeah. No,
and
there is definitely pros and cons to each version of the business model. I just think when we get into a discussion about platforms paying developers outright for the game, you get into the debate of just turning the camera back on. Episode 2, still ironing out the kinks. You get into the debate of the perceived value of someone's product. Does that then rest and kind of exist only with brand? Do they pay? Obviously, they pay much more money for Call of Duty, but does that even give smaller developers like us the opportunity when the likes of Google don't know who we are? That's my biggest concern. Because if they turn around to us and that they offered us a fixed price, it's going to be nowhere near enough to maybe sustain a studio. It may be, or it may be not.
So would you say potentially have a set cap for every developer that's on there? So a set cap that Google offers every single developer to go on that platform?
I don't think that's the answer, personally. I don't believe that's the answer. I know where we are going. I know that we're going more down the streaming service of the music industry, and frankly, it's had a big impact on how much money is going into and out of the music industry. Streaming kind of killed the sales of albums and CDs, and now what we see is 2-minute songs and streaming playlists, because the way we consume the media has changed. And I see gaming going down the same route. We're just limited at the moment by the technology, by the data caps, and by the opportunity of streaming at a kind of high fidelity level that can compete with just playing on consoles or on PC. So, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see. It's a new horizon, and basically, like anything, the companies that change with the times and get ahead of the curve are the ones that are still going to be in business. So
absolutely,
we'll see what happens. Moving on, the downsides to Stadia, as we've covered quickly, as we'll cover quickly, is the limited game pool, which is the games that came out last year. I think with these Assassin's Creed.
The only new title on there is a small indie title. I haven't looked at all the rest of.
For a new platform,
is not very great.
It rings a bell like.
I think that's
when Xbox One launched and there was no games, and there still really isn't any standout first party titles. What they needed to come out the gate with is like XYZ. This is what's launching on our title.
Well, that's where E3 should have played for them. Really, they had the perfect opportunity and they just wasted it.
Of course,
no competitors.
Yeah, we were all kind of waiting, wasn't we? We were all waiting for.
When I think of the Xbox presentation, I just think of Keanu Reeves, and that's not even an Xbox exclusive. He was just presenting Cyberpunk on the Xbox stage.
It was a moment for Keanu Reeves and for Cyberpunk, and less about Xbox and Microsoft. But and yeah, obviously these are the missing features at launch. I think Stadia isn't even compatible with current Chromecasts.
No, it's not.
Really?
Yeah. And that's going
to be an update.
It's going to be an update soon, hopefully. But coming out the gate and not allowing your current user base of Chromecast users to not have access to your new gaming platform is awful.
Very bad.
Awful. But we'll see. I do have hope. I'm probably more hopeful than most in this room.
It's going to happen. Are you more hopeful about Stadia as a platform, or just the idea of streaming in general?
Streaming in general.
Yeah.
I think it'll make a change in the industry, and although I wouldn't like streaming to have such an effect on the industry as it did on the music industry, I know it's going to come. But I am hopeful that Google has the capacity to turn this into something. xCloud is quite interesting as well.
Yeah.
I do like that.
I like the idea of the xCloud.
Yeah, I think they're doing right. I think they've got it in trial at the moment in like beta, and they're inviting press and influencers to kind of get involved, which is the right way of doing it. If it comes out as a help us test this platform to then make it the best product it can, then I think everyone can get behind that a little bit more. But moving on. Enough about Stadia for now. Let's move on to the next story. We've got Pokemon Sword and Shield came out this week. Controversial topic, slightly.
Okay.
And it's started to make headlines. So, Pokemon Sword and Shield is now the fastest selling Switch game. Chris Priestman.
I thought you were going to say Chris Pratt then.
No, Chris Priestman from IGN said that Pokemon Sword and Shield has sold over 6 million units in its first week to become the fastest selling Nintendo Switch title so far. 6 million units.
It's Pokemon, man.
That's all right, isn't it?
It's Pokemon.
A load of animals that you capture
in little balls.
The Pokemon Company announced today that Pokemon Sword and Shield has sold over 6 million units globally in its first week. That includes both digital and physical sales since the game's release date on November 15th. Are you going to pick it up? Silence in the room.
Chris? Come on, Chris. You're a Pokemon fan. Come
You're
on.
not a fan?
No, why are you not a fan, Chris?
I am a fan. It just seems like the same game over and over again.
Because I know you.
That's a fair enough point. It does look very much like the same
I played
game.
it last year, and it doesn't seem to be any different.
You were really passionate Pokemon. You've talked about this before. You think that there's a lot more they could do with the IP. What do you think? What do you think they?
I was hoping for like a complete reinvention, because I know that's just not possible. I was hoping they'd be something a bit more ambitious, like Mario Odyssey. I mean, that wasn't a complete reinvention, but it just refined. It went back to Mario 64 or even Sunshine. Yeah, and it just made it better.
Should have just gone full Mario Galaxy with it.
Imagine an open world Pokemon game like that.
I think that's what we all expected. We all expected with the capabilities of the Switch that they'd bring.
They've kind of gone that way, but it seems to be half baked and not all in on it. Like they had the wide at the open. They've got sections of the game which open roam, which is the free roaming elements, but then you've got the rest of the game which is fixed camera and confined spaces you can't, and you're basically on rails.
Really?
Yeah.
What, in the open areas?
Yeah. No, in the open areas you can go where you want, but like when you're going through the towns and the rest of the game, it's all.
But that is Pokemon though. That's the and we had this conversation last week is like about the intended audience. It's gonna sell like hotcakes.
Exactly. That's why they don't need to put it.
You don't need to support it.
No. Yeah.
No, that's what Chris is trying to say. They
sold 6 million copies, so Chris is he's not gonna support it anymore.
No.
I do understand what you mean, because I think they do need to push the boat out a little bit.
Well, as you said, they don't.
No, but is it because they don't? Yeah, exactly. They don't need to.
No,
the fan base is just. Was you who said it's the fastest selling IP?
It's the most profitable IP in the world. It's more profitable than Mario.
The possibilities of the engine they use it just seems very limited.
It feels like it was a 3DS game that you just ported over.
And it also feels like the engine existed probably 15 years ago.
But do you think maybe they're holding back on that because then that'll become an expectation, doing a big open world sort of Mario Odyssey? Because the second they do,
it's there, isn't it?
Yeah, but then there's the expectation that they have to go above that over and over again. Whereas
keep it within their
probably because they have got
that is an interesting point, definitely.
Yeah, they have got other things outside the game to don't worry about.
They came out, the bar was set, and now Witcher 3, Dragon Age Inquisition.
Yeah.
We're just seeing more and more bigger open worlds. And where does it stop once you set that example?
But I think Pokemon is a Pokemon game, and no matter what the Pokemon games do, there's never going to be anything that can really compete to it.
Open world.
Just look less like a 3DS game.
Yeah.
But like I said, the intended audience is 7 to 10-year-olds, and I know there is a big demographic of gamers like ourselves that grew up with the games and will play the games and buy the games.
What? In the same respect, what are kids playing now? They're able to handle a lot more.
Of course,
than we give them credit for.
But this will always be a platform, a Switch seller, and it will always highlight. It will bring more. This is the reason why they coincided the release of the Switch Lite with this, is because it is a unit seller for the consoles.
Yeah. You've been trying to convince me to get a Switch Lite.
Yeah, I've been
Yeah, I know, but I'd want a normal Switch if I got one at all.
I just fancy a Switch Lite.
Oh, so you just want me to have a Switch Lite, so you own a Switch Lite as well?
I think I'd just like a Switch Lite because they're cute. I like the yellow ones.
Yeah, but I like the aesthetic of the modern Switch. I think it's nicer.
We'll see if we get a Switch Pro.
Are you still
been hoping for a Pro for about 3
years? you have, Chris. Right.
So, as translated by industry analyst Daniel Ahmed, or Ahmad, I'm really bad with names. I've realised this. I'm usually all right with names.
No, I'm terrible with names.
It's
that.
reading names from a document.
No, I'm a faces guy. I've got too many names to remember. I've lost track of them all now.
The Pokemon Company noted that this smashes the previous record held by Super Smash Bros., which sold 5 million units in its opening week. Jesus. With that title now taken, Smash Bros. Ultimate will have to settle with being the best-selling fighting game ever. What a shame. What a shame. Nintendo announced via the press release with 2 million copies were sold in the first 2 days in the US, making it the highest grossing launch in the US for any Pokemon game. That could be put on track to sell 4 million copies faster than Pokemon Sun and Moon, which previously set the record for Nintendo game sales in the United States. To be honest with you, I thought that Pokemon Sun and Moon signified kind of not the end, but the slow decline of Pokemon games. But that's just me. That's me within my limited bubble.
maybe it's just a lot of people. The 3DS is popular, but the Switch is vastly way more popular. It's getting so much momentum. Of course, it's and you've got the nostalgia element. A lot of people haven't played the old games
on a brand spanking new console.
You know what I mean?
Of course.
Now it's probably the first time in years they're picking it up.
Yeah. And especially on a new console. That's, I think, why a lot of people are a little bit burnt. Because... Just recording the camera again. 12-minute intervals. That's why I think people are a little bit burnt, because I think we expected a console, a game that was a little bit more like Breath of the Wild than because we know the capabilities of it now. So, for an additional comparison, the 2013's Pokemon X and Y sold 4 million units across the globe in its first week, while last generation's Pokemon Sun and Moon reportedly sold 7.2 million in its first week, according to Eurogamer. The Metacritic score of from critics is 81, with a user score of 4.1, which is generally unfavourable. That's what it's considered. I don't know what it's rated by. I think, is it 10?
I don't know.
I'm guessing it's 10. Because its preference with it being generally unfavourable with a 4.1.
That's
if it was 4. If it was 5.
That's about 5, average, and the 4
then
is.
That'd be a high. But we'll see.
Makes sense to me that.
I usually give most Pokemon games a little bit of a go. Just get a little bit bored.
I haven't
after a bit. I enjoy my time with it, but
I lost interest in them in such a long time ago, and there's too many of them now. There actually is too many. And it does feel very repetitive.
I just never thought the Pokemon games would have been your thing anyway. You're more into your like AAA
and indie and stuff,
like Metro Exodus.
Yeah, I'm more of a story guy, and Pokemon does have a story to it that I did get into when I was younger. But I don't even know.
It's like, what are they bringing to the table now?
Yeah,
I'd love to explore it though. I think you should get it out of all three of us, because I think you can give us a good review of it if you play it. And I think you'd enjoy it. I think
put it through the business account.
I think you'd enjoy it though. I think you would enjoy it. I think you. Yeah, it's just making a purchase decision. Are you willing to?
You didn't think you'd enjoy Just Dance? You loved that.
Oh yeah, I totally loved it. That one song I played was amazing.
That one song that you played. I'm just trying to think if there's any more news stories this week. Can you think of?
Star Wars.
Well, we'll move on to Star Wars in a minute.
Yeah.
Half-Life. Are we a fan?
Right.
Are we a
It
fan?
looks amazing. The trailer. We watched it today, literally this morning, and it looks fantastic. Like how VR should you? Obviously, it's a trailer, so
Of course.
we'll see how it turns out if it plays like that at all.
Yeah.
But I feel like this is Valve trying to like avoid release a Half-Life game, but not be Half-Life 3 because we all know that Half-Life 3 can never launch ever. The game can never launch.
I disagree. I think that this is them testing the water for to reinvigorate the franchise.
How long's it been since a Half-Life?
Oh no, what I'm saying,
How
the
long is it then?
expectation of 3 is too high. Like it would be, it would
if
break
this-
the internet.
But what if we say that this is the third? What if we say that this is the third? What if we end up they release this, it does critically well, and then they announce 4.
This isn't number
Does that
3.
avoid the-
No, this
I know
isn't
it's
3
not
because
number
it's set between 1 and 2.
Of course, but do they avoid calling it Half-Life 3?
But
Do they have this as a signifier of reinvigorating the franchise and
I think-
maybe starting again?
I feel
I take it as.
yeah, because they couldn't do this and then just skip to the next one and call it 4 because then people would be like, well, that was Half-Life 3, a VR game, and then there would be a lot of
People are gonna
backlash.
just kick off anyway.
Yeah, they're gonna kick off. Let's be
People are
honest.
gonna kick
But it
off
looks
anyway.
cool. I really like the look of it.
Yeah, no, it does look fantastic. Actually,
I would play that.
Yeah,
really
I would
play
play
it.
it as well.
What do you
If we
think,
had a-
Chris? Did
if
you
we
see
had
the
a
trailer
VR.
yet?
No, I've not seen that.
You should watch it. It's
What
good,
did you
it's
think
good.
of
It's
the
like-
announcement? How they handled it?
Came out of nowhere. I was like, I thought it was a joke.
It's got 2.4 million views on Twitter from last time I saw it,
Was it?
which is
That's
mental.
fantastic.
Yeah.
That's crazy because it's kind of set a new bar for how a VR game can look. I know we've only seen the trailer, but it looks incredible.
Yeah,
It's
it does look
fantastic.
really good.
We'll see. I
Yeah.
hope it does well. I hope people don't get too.
It's March
Like-
2020, isn't it?
No, it's not. It's soon, isn't it?
It's next year.
Oh, is it next year?
I'm sure
Oh,
it was
wow.
March 2020.
So that makes sense.
Yeah. 10th of March, maybe. We'll see.
Mm.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah. So, Star Wars.
Right.
Star Wars
so-
came out.
Yeah. And
I've not played it yet, really, but
You've played 30 seconds of it.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
before we go into kind of your opinion, yeah, they were. Yeah, before we go into too much about what you think of it just yet, came out. It got great reviews from critics. It got some kind of mixed reviews from the general public that it mixes a lot. It's like the jack of all trades and master of none. It does some amazing things. It takes some great tropes from different games. God of War, Uncharted. We have a lot of Dark Souls in there. But it's a little bit rough around the edges, which
Yep.
I'm fine with.
Yeah.
The expectation now is that games come out and they are a little bit broken. But overall, I think people's public perception is amazing. So we can praise
have
the
hope.
Lord.
It is a Star Wars game.
Praise the Lord.
Yeah.
Honestly, thank God for that. I've been waiting for a good Star Wars anything.
Because you could talk hours.
See what happens when EA don't interfere.
Because Kieran's
Yeah.
the big Star Wars nerd here out of everyone. You know everything there is to know.
I just
But you know everything.
I still have hope, and I know that Star Wars fills us with hope. But after
They did.
The Last
after the
Jedi
Last
happened.
Jedi and after Solo and after Battlefront 2.
Solo wasn't too bad. It was boring, but it wasn't.
Solo was like watching paint dry.
Yeah, that's what I said. It was boring, but it wasn't Last Jedi.
I don't mind though. I think that's the GoPro going off. Let me
You're
check.
actually bored
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Bored or amazed?
Yeah,
The Last Jedi makes me like it.
because I'm a casual fan. Like I've just watched the Star Wars films,
I'm a casual
and I've
fan,
played
but
a.
I thought
Yeah.
Last Jedi was the worst film ever.
Oh no!
Let's
This is
just
tying
not go
into the game.
Last Jedi. I've said before.
Yeah, we said
We
last
cannot, we
episode.
should not get into this right now because
He who shall not be named.
Anyway, so we've got some good reviews.
Yeah.
Gameplay is pretty strong. A little bit rough around the edges. There's some design decisions in there that people are that are just a bit concerning. Like when people latch onto walls and they have this like left trigger, left bumper thing to hold on. People are saying like, why is little bits like that in there? It is brutal. Apparently it's really hard.
Very brutal.
But Simran,
Is it brutal?
let's start from the top.
Yeah.
What were your initial impressions?
So before going into it, I was talking to you about it is, given this track record of Star Wars games, I went into it just saying, you know what, if it makes me feel like a Jedi, I won't even be bothered at this rate. I don't even care about a good story. I've not completed it yet, so I don't want to pass judgment on it too early. I think it's a good Star Wars game. From what I've played, it does make you feel like a Jedi.
Yeah.
My issue with it so far is the technical hiccups with it, and the story is a little bit. It's okay.
It's okay.
It's not breaking. My main issues have been just.
Is it a good Star Wars game? Yes.
Yeah.
I'm down.
Yeah.
I'm down.
Honestly, yeah.
So technical. So let's start with the technical stuff.
Okay. So I'll go into the big one that me and Chris like to talk about, that Chris has been talking about since day one, and I've proved him right because I've been sending him Facebook messages about it. No one else has talked about this, ironically enough. The character's face, the main character, there is something very wrong with his face, and no one is talking about this. Chris,
what's wrong with his face?
Do you want to jump in on this a little bit?
Not really, because I don't know what it is.
Yeah, for me, this again, I could be wrong. For me, it feels like his lip sync doesn't line up with his jaw movements. Like, he'll have this weird facial expression that it doesn't feel natural. Like, he feels different to the rest of the characters in the world. Like, the aliens in the game, phenomenal. Like, aliens in this game, from an animation standpoint, look amazing. It's the humans and the Wookiees, because the Wookiees.
Oh yeah, I've heard about the Wookiees. Apparently, Wookiees, no one can animate Wookiees. Not animate, but no one can model Wookiees.
No, they look stretched. Like, they look like a human model that's been stretched and just had the fur, but the fur looks hand painted. Yeah, and it doesn't look right, the Wookiees. But like, I sent Chris. Yeah. I sent Chris a screenshot of one of the characters' eyes. One of the main characters in the trailer, the woman who's with you on the ship, her eyes are just popping out of her head, like. And it's just like, what is going on with your eyes? Like, what?
Can you talk a little bit quieter? Just I want to just test that the mic's not clipping. Yeah, you sent me some screenshots that were incredibly interesting. Of facial animations. Does it matter? Does it matter in the grand scheme of things?
No, because
is it a good-looking game though?
Oh, it's beautiful at times. Beautiful at times. So beautiful that PS4 can't even handle it. This is the second big technical hiccup I've had with it is frame rate is really bad at points. Like, so when you sprint into big battles, the frame rate just goes.
Does it tank?
It just tank. Like, you can't charge into battles with loads of enemies. Like, I'm dreading when I get into later in the game because I have no doubt they're going to throw massive hordes at you, and I don't think the PS4s. I've had 2 hard crashes so far from frame rate.
Listen, the games. What we've come to realise is that games come out broken.
But they've done a patch last night because I tested it, so there is an update now. So I don't know if they've patched anything.
Yeah.
As of last night.
Possibly.
Yeah. And it feels amazing. Like, it feels amazing. I love the customization of the lightsaber. I love fighting enemies, and it is brutal. Brutal. Like, I went into it on hardest difficulty because that's what I play all my games on. I was getting my ass kicked. I had to tone it down to normal difficulty, and even then it's hard. And I toned it down to easy difficulty at one point because there was a boss that I was fighting in, like, one of the really first planets you visit, and I just wanted to test, like, the difficulty level between normal and story mode, and story mode is literally the easiest thing in the world. Like, I was able to beat the boss in like 5 swings. I was like, okay, I need to go on normal mode, and normal mode is quite challenging. They've definitely taken inspiration from Dark Souls with the whole meditation points throughout the game that you can meditate at, and then that saves your progress. And obviously, if you die from an enemy, you lose all your XP.
Oh, so you lose your XP, and
yeah,
how do you get XP back?
If you kill the enemy that killed you, you get all your XP back.
No,
I like that.
You hit the enemy that killed you.
Okay.
You get it by the moment you hit him.
Oh, really?
Well,
I thought it was if you killed them.
I will be playing it on hard. Or the hardest difficulty we can. I know it's going to be brutal.
Kieran has stolen my copy.
I have stolen Simran's copy while he goes away. See if I can get some. I'll see if I can get some time to play it. I want to make some time to play it because it's Star Wars, and
he was playing it at
I need
Gamers Unite, and he looked like a child for 30 seconds when he was just hitting his lightsaber against the wall.
I've just been burnt many a time with a Star Wars product.
Yeah.
And for people to say that it's actually good,
makes him happy.
Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord.
Praise Jesus.
I'm excited to see what the game looks like in a month.
In
2 months, once they iron out some of the technical kinks.
Definitely going to be DLC, I think.
That's why I think I might leave actually purchasing a copy until Christmas, because the game come Christmas will look so much different. I think it'll the technical hiccups will disappear, hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
And then we can kind of revisit it, then I'll give my verdict and see what we come up with. But no Death Stranding? No? Just me? No?
It's just not. We talked about this last time.
This is a running theme. I really fancy it myself.
I love walking simulators.
No, yeah, definitely not.
You know I love walking simulators, but this is too much of a literal walking simulator.
I like it.
It's just
like walking in the Lake District.
Yeah. Norman Reedus on a bike. I wonder where they got that inspiration from.
God knows. Yeah. Well, I'm excited to dig into Star Wars. I'm going to give you a little bit of a verdict tomorrow, next week probably, depending on how much time I get this weekend. Gamers Unite. So that happened.
Yeah.
That
2 days
happened.
ago. We've only just started recovering from it. Yeah.
So we had our last event of the year. Manchester Gamers Unite 2019. That's finished. And we're now making plans for the
2021s. Getting
things in order. It was a good event. It was a good event. It was we tried out a few different things and threw a few spanner in the works.
Yeah,
but
we got there. Like the front entrance, that was one I was keen to try out.
Yeah,
I thought I'd give you a little bit of a surprise with that one. I think it adds that nice little welcoming thing. For those that don't know, we had a little front entrance that basically gave everyone this dramatic smoke entrance, Darth Vader level intro when they came through the front door
with like air pistons going off and stuff. But a huge thank you to the developers that came down.
Yeah,
a few of the listening to some feedback and that some of the kind of highlights, standouts were which one was the Nan?
Oh, Nan Turismo from a group of that was the one. Yeah,
people really enjoyed that.
Yeah, and it just a 3-week game made by some UCLan students.
Yeah, so people really enjoyed it. Obviously, they saw the
pun.
Yeah, the pun but the gameplay was great. What else did we have?
So we had Sniper Elite VR, which was one of my 2 personal favourites.
Yeah, it went down really well.
That game was phenomenal. The Just Add Water team have nailed moving in VR. Looking down a scope in that game is phenomenal.
How does it play? Does it play like the Sniper VR?
Well, obviously, it's VR, so obviously you can't move. So you hold the gun, and obviously if you have a controller, then it'll play the exact same. Yeah. But if you hold the gun, all your movement is mapped to the gun. So it then moves forward, backwards, shoot, and where you aim the gun, that is then put in this. But it just feels smooth. Like it does. Yeah. There was no motion sickness despite how far, and they've got the kill cams, which is incredible. The kill cams, which
fantastic,
feel amazing.
So you shoot the gun, and then goes to the kill cam.
Yeah,
the bullet travels.
Does
the bollock shot where you shoot someone in the
I didn't get a bollock, but naturally, one of the designer and the producer for the game there, and the first question I asked said, are the nut shots? And the producer said, naturally, yes. Yeah. Of course they're there.
It's the USP for the game.
Yeah.
I think. But no, it was a great event. It was I didn't get to try it myself.
Was there any that you liked the look of that you'd say was probably your favourite headliner from the look of? Because I know you liked Drive By when you were looking at the footage when editing that. Another post-spin pack game. Seems to be a running theme, this, Chris.
It's like a multiplayer, like Crazy Taxi.
Yeah, like but you've got to deliver parcels, which is insane. Yeah, those guys were really cool.
Yeah, and Squishy Sports look great.
Yeah, Squishy Sports is really cool, made by 2 tutors from a game design course, and it's literally just volleyball. But the great thing they're doing they're doing very community orientated because of obviously how easy their art style is. They just make characters that people submit in their Discord like every single week and just put them in the game. So they've got loads of characters to pick from, and those two guys are very big on community. And
That's fantastic. I think that's the good thing about the events at the moment is we're getting involved with a lot of developers that have like a similar ethos to us, which is about community-driven development and how actually making a game alongside your community is beneficial. But I think someone's outside. Sammy's outside.
Oh.
How long have we got? Well, we'll wrap it up. Wrap it up in a minute.
We can wrap it up. We can wrap it up in 1 minute.
But yeah, so it was a great event. It was good to see everyone. We've got some big plans for the next year now.
Next year.
And we'll have to see how things go. Our first event is pitted for about March time next year.
I've got some cool headliners in place already. Not even 2 days out, I'm already planning it.
And so Simran's about to go to India for
2 weeks.
2 weeks, I think.
Don't worry, I'll still have my laptop so you can all still speak to me. Yeah.
You were looking forward to it?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I've always fancied going.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Whereabouts in India?
Going to New Delhi.
New Delhi?
Yeah, which I'm going to go see everything there is to see. I've always fancied. Yeah, going with family. Nice bit of bonding with the family.
That'd be fantastic. That'd be great. You'll be missed. You'll be missed. I'll have to maybe drag Chris on camera with me.
Oh, that'll be
do a podcast.
But then that breaks the illusion of everyone.
It's
gonna. Maybe we should.
Breaks the illusion.
Make him wear a Pikachu hat. No, we'll make you wear the moon hat from Outer Worlds.
Yeah.
Chris can just sit there.
I don't get the reference, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, the guy. Yeah, Karen.
Funny anyway.
Yeah, no, it'll be good to get Chris on, or we'll get someone on.
Yeah.
To do this with me. Thank you for everyone who checked out the first podcast. This is going to be hopefully a once a week, 2 week thing. We'll see what happens.
We'll see.
And as always, send in you kind of requests if you've got any games that you want to showcase at Gamers Unite.
Yeah.
Give us a call. Jump in our Discord with us and come and have a chat with us. And tell us what's going on in your kind of world at the moment.
I love chatting to everyone.
Yeah. So, Simran, have a good time in India, and we will see you again soon.
See you soon.
Cheers, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.